by the midwife, why not? So they can physician focus on something, surgery, hysterectomy, or abnormal bleedings, because this is why they're a physician. Yes, I'm as Ms. Zahra, she said, I never met a midwife. They're not passionate. They're not compassionate about what they are doing. We have that. We are by choice, and naturally we are mothering. We are mothering as a midwife. We love to support and give. So as having a midwife in the field also help to promote regular examinations, breast examination. There's an article published in 2021 about the midwife and nurses and midwives' knowledge and attitude and acceptance regarding HPV vaccine. The result shows there's a tremendous change in the community in Ghana because the role of the midwife of supporting, demonstrating, educated the public and improved public health in Ghana. And that was the effort of the midwives and the nurses in the field. They supported this because it's the normal things. We need knowledge, and who can give that? A qualified midwife. We also counsel and provide and what is she supposed to do during this time. Also during my role, during that period of primary health care, I encourage women to take care of themselves. And what is the healthy behavior in their, they're supposed to follow in their life. So personal hygiene, yes, we cannot guarantee that everyone knows how personal hygiene. And developing country, they are behind. So midwives step in and step up and say, we can educate you because it's normal. We can advocate for this. We can support this. And also during the primary health care, that's our role take place. Because as I said, physicians, with all my respect and not underestimate or undervalue anyone, they don't have the time. They have a surgery behind them. But as a midwife, well, a knowledgeable person, educated person can do this. As a midwife, Ms. Zahra mentioned earlier, we don't judge. We listen, we understand, we support. We take a role that how the woman she's supposed to live her life. So how is midwives in all settings, how we can advocate for this? Dedicated midwives play a critical role in various settings by providing service that display their compassion, advocacy, competence, and awareness. So we are obligated to advocate for women's rights and important women's social status. As a midwife, I have to teach our young ladies to understand and value their body and teach them by camping. And there's a lot of camping outside, not in Saudi Arabia, in the school that teach young ladies how to value their body, how to not accept violence, how to love their body no matter what. And they are human, they are not a sex object. Women are beautiful things in life. And beautiful is, woman is like a flower in lives. So we have to teach young ladies as a midwife how to love themselves and respect themselves and value themselves. Also, there's a lot of articles talked about marriage in young age. Midwife there's an article talked about that midwives teach the young ladies why it's not a forbidden, but how it's risky to marry in a young age because can affect your body and the uterus. And also, during the primary health, one of our value and our work and advocate that we encourage women to talk if there is unhealed trauma that never been treated. So as a midwife, we have a lot to advocate in primary health because as I mentioned earlier, we talked about healthy life, natural things and normal things. And our role is not to stop here. We have to go to labor and delivery. And as a primary giver for a pregnant mother and her baby, we improve maternal outcomes because delivery is normal thing, is a miracle things that naturally happen. So as a midwife, we show support and we show love during this period because we want to end it with a beautiful experience. During that care, we have the time to teach and we have the time to give the mother options and alternative decision for her birth planning. We have the time to spend 9 months with the mom, teach her and walk her through everything and what she needs during the antenatal and then postnatal. We have the time to put on the table different choices of contraceptives. So for example, when I used to work in the United States as a midwife, and this is one of my strategies, This is one of the strategy I used to teach, especially the primary gravidae. When I have a patient, first baby, first time, teenager, and all of you know, teenager, they don't really focus on healthy life. They don't focus on nutrition. And most of them, they have malnutrition, especially their look, their appearance. So one of my strategies that I used to do, and takes time, educate the patient takes time. So the physician doesn't have this time to educate the patients, as I mentioned earlier, because the physicians, they have surgery to do, they have all critical things to do. So we are able to do this. So one of my strategy, I was like, okay, especially for primary gravidae, you are a young. That's what I explained to the patient. I asked her, if you have a planet, a flower or a planet, which fluid you will provide? And they are always, they say, yeah, we give water. And I said, when you give water, what's going to happen? They say, we're going to have a beautiful flower or beautiful, fruits. My explanation to them, here we go. When you are pregnant, your baby is like your flower or your planet. You have to feed your baby a lot of water so you can have a beautiful outcome. You're going to have a beautiful flowers. And also the kidney, because all that organ change during pregnancy. So I encourage them to drink water. So one of my strategy as well, an advocate to have healthy pregnancy, healthy life. One of my strategy is, okay, if you go to the bathroom, outside the bathroom, have a bottle of water. And if you step in and you pee and you see the color is dark, it's mean your body doesn't drink a lot of water. So you need water. So what you do, wash your hands, and then after you finish, step out and drink this bottle of water and keep it as a habit. So we encourage women through the 9 months how to have a healthy, and we check everything. I'm not neglecting or I'm underestimated the physician work, but they don't have the time to walk and talk with the patient during the pregnancy like us. So I have a story here. A story happened in a labor and delivery and how I advocate for this woman. And she's an Afghani lady. I have some time or I'm done?
Yes, Doctora, go ahead.
All right. So The story about Afghani mother. She is recently moved to United States. She doesn't speak English. She doesn't have family. She doesn't have anyone there. She was with her husband. Her husband speaks fluent English. But you know, first baby, young lady, no family, no one with her around her. You know, the fear and understand, she doesn't understand what's happening. All she knows that she's gonna give birth. So it was, luckily, it was my shift. So the common things between me and her, that I'm a mother, I understand what she wants. Yes, I cannot have that assumption, but I tried all ways to understand her. So the language was barrier between us. So she was going through pain because first baby, and I'm sure she was scared. So all the physician, and against this, epidural. I don't love epidural. I love natural birth. So she was in pain. So I was like, I give her alternative options. I was teaching her. I was like, you know what? I was my shift to give her a nice, beautiful experience. And absolutely, she was afraid because she doesn't speak. She cannot express how she feels. And everybody around her was telling her, epidural, if you are in pain, take epidural. Okay, what other options? So as a midwife, I was like, okay. I brought up pencil and paper, and I was like, you know, this is what's going to happen when you are laboring. This is the cervix. It's going to open. There's a baby. You feel it like you are going to go to the bathroom. And her husband was helping me translating what I was drawing. I used all my senses. And then I was like, you know what? The fetal strips looks fine. You want to walk? She was probably like around 4 centimeter, -2 station. Fetal heart rate was beautifully, nicely in the strips. Membrane intact. I was like, why I have to hold you on the bed for a long time? Let's move around and let me hold your hand. Just holding the patient's hand and walking and show that patient she's priority to me make a difference. She kind of
1 minute left, Doctora.
Okay, so she lowered her guard. So I was encouraged her to breathe, the technique of breathing. And then I took her to the shower and I asked her husband to massage her back while here in shower. And I was with them and intermittently checked her fetal heart rate. Alhamdulillah, she delivered a beautiful baby and it was a beautiful experience. Last 2 slides. I'm not going to go through this. This is also a phenomena happen in Africa, and this is a female genital mutilation. I'm not going to go through this, and this is a lot of problem when that problem happened. I had a patient also in antenatal care. So to make the long story short, this patient, she was pregnant and a baby girl, and she was planning to go to Africa to have this mutation. And I got a doll, and I was showing her how that can affect her lifelong, in a long life term. So after teaching and explaining, and it took time, the patient decided not to have this and have her baby, live her life and make her choice. And that's why I advocate to have that baby and the mother controlling this decision, not the culture. So because we care, International Day of Midwife is celebrated all over the world to drive awareness and progress globally for women's rights and health. We are here to stand with each other, with all women all over the world, to show them love and support and motivations. And that's the last 2 slides promise. The midwife consider the miracle of childbirth as a normal and leave it at alone unless there's a trouble. The obstetrician normally sees childbirth as a trouble. If he leaves it alone, it will be a miracle. Today, this is our time to shine, and we are, as a midwife, Saudi midwife, we're going to work together to, inshallah, spread our voice and our knowledge all over the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Doctora, for this nice presentation. I like the water part. When you said water, it's magical. وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي. It's very nice example, and it's really powerful. So let us go for the first question. The first question is, what is the midwife role in patient health clinic in MOH?
Well, I just moved to Saudi Arabia. I don't have a lot experience in the practice here. I've been here just 6 months. I've been working in the United States for a long period as a midwife. So really probably Dr. Ru'a Tawil, who is really one of the leader in MOH, can help me to answer these questions. But I'm sure her vision and mission is, like all midwives all over the world, to advocate for women's rights here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Nawal. Doctora, and let's move on for our next lecture with Dr. Reem.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Our next about respectful maternity care. She's a teaching assistant at Saudi University, Saudi Arabia. So please all welcome Dr. Reem, and thank you for this topic today.
Yeah, hello everyone, and happy International Day for Day of the Midwife. First, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to join this important conference and to have this opportunity to talk about respectful maternity care and the critical issue of mistreatment during childbirth. There is an old saying, treat everyone how you want to be treated. However, this is not completely true. And the right saying is, treat everyone how you want to be how they want to be treated. An example, and this got me thinking. For example, like saying a good girl for a woman during childbirth could be considered disrespectful, even though the midwife or the midwife has the positive intention to encourage her, and because the woman considers may trigger something from the past, like traumatic experience as being a victim of child molestation or an abuse. So or who said to her, like, good girl, to keep her silent. So another word such as mama in Saudi culture, some of the Saudi women considered it very disrespectful because used for young children or for young children. So therefore, it is important to ask this question: how do Saudi women feel about respectful maternity care? This qualitative study was part from my PhD project, and then this really important statement to say is disrespectful. Disrespect isn't just a matter of dignity; it can cost women their lives. So globally, 830 women still die every day from preventable causes during pregnancy and childbirth. One of the reasons is that women who are fearful of healthcare provider are less likely to seek medical attention and life-saving care. for themselves and their newborn, especially during childbirth. Disrespectful practices could cause increased adrenaline levels and suppressing oxytocin, natural oxytocin levels, which can cause prolonged labor, postpartum hemorrhage, delay the initiation of breastfeeding, and increase the probability of a newborn having a low Apgar score or low birth weight. So following a mistreatment during active childbirth, a study linked the fear from the negative childbirth experience to the postpartum depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. So to ensure a positive childbirth experience, the WHO has therefore published this guideline, includes 56 evidence-based recommendations on intrapartum care. And as you can see here, it's the respectful maternity care is considered the first recommendation highlighting its importance during intrapartum care. This mistreatment of women during childbirth violates women's basic human rights. So therefore, in 2012, the Respectful Maternity Care Charter has been developed to confirm the universal rights of a childbearing woman. As you can see, there are 7 universal rights for childbearing women, which translated into other 7 languages. This includes being free from harm and ill treatment, having information, informed consent, and respecting her choices, companionship, privacy and confidentiality, being treated with dignity and respect, equality from freedom, from discrimination and equitable care, healthcare to the highest attainable level of health, and finally is liberty, autonomy, self-determination, and freedom from coercion. In 2019, it was updated, so adding 3 additional rights, which were more related to the child healthcare rights, including every child has the right to be with the parents and guardians. So no one is allowed to separate woman, the mother, from her newborn, and without her consent, and every child has the right to have the identity and nationality from birth. So no one is allowed to deny the newborn birth registration. And finally, the 10 is everyone has the right to adequate nutrition and clean water. So the WHO emphasized on the importance of recognizing and addressing the mistreatment of women during childbirth. So this paper from the WHO research group conducted a mixed method systematic review on the treatment of women during childbirth. And following a synthesis of 65 qualitative and quantitative studies across 34 countries, the USAID categories were revised to include these 7 typologies of mistreatment. So the first one is physical abuse, such as using the force, like a woman beaten, slapped, kicked, or pinched during childbirth, and physical restraint, where women physically restrained to the bed. Sexual abuse, including rape, the verbal abuse, such as using harsh or rude language, judgmental comments, threats and blaming for poor outcomes, and also stigma and discrimination, failure to meet professional standards of care, poor rapport between women and providers. And finally is healthcare, health system conditions and constraints. So regard terminologies, so the first terminology is obstetric violence, is a term commonly used in Latin America, such as Brazil and Venezuela, by the childbirth activist movement since the 1990s. In 2000, the Latin American and Caribbean Network for Familiarization of Birth was launched at an international conference on the harmonization of birth. In 2010, then, the term disrespect and abuse was reinforced by the United States Agency for International Development, which the acronym for USAID, in typology related to obstetric violence in childbirth care facilities presented in range of countries. In 2015, the WHO research group subsequently updated the terminologies and replaced disrespect and abuse with mistreatment, and argued this would be more inclusive for a wide range of typologies and source of mistreatment, such as healthcare system constraint and conditions. We cannot put it under disrespect and abuse as a behavioral category. So in 2017, the WHO updated mistreatment terminology into respect for maternity care to address the broader concept of this phenomenon, which encompasses any of kind mistreatment before, during, and after childbirth. So respect for maternity care, defined as an approach centered on the individual based on principles, ethics, and respect for human rights, and promotes practices that recognize women's preferences and women's and newborns' needs. So the context of this study, Saudi Arabia. And the population of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia currently almost 35 million. Riyadh is the capital city of Saudi Arabia and the largest city of the Arabian Peninsula. Females make up 42% of the population, and the average age on first marriage of women is 26 years old. And the birth rate of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is 17 births per 1,000 people, where with a total fertility rate of 2.3 live births per woman. One birth every 54 seconds at a countrywide level. And in 2020, the number of births of Saudi Arabia was 585.17 thousand. And according to the WHO, the reported maternal mortality rate in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was 11.9 per 100,000 live births, and the infant mortality rate was 6 per 1,000 live births. In order to improve the maternity care services in Saudi Arabia, this qualitative study aims to explore women's experiences or women's childbirth experiences of respect for maternity care. So, so this study recruited. This is study using an exploratory qualitative method. Following the research ethics board decision, they recruited hospitals were 2 government hospitals with different levels of care and 1 private hospital. I used these letters just to maintain each hospital rights of confidentiality. And each participants were purposefully selected by the researcher based on the inclusion criteria. So these inclusion criteria includes women who had vaginal or instrumental birth, postpartum women within 24 hours to 6 weeks of childbearing, women who spoke Arabic and have Saudi nationality, and women aged 18 to 49 years. I excluded women who had experience of a stillbirth, neonatal death, or women who with recognized vulnerabilities such as learning disabilities, teenagers, teenager mothers, and women with diagnosed mental health condition. And to eliminate feeling pressured to participate, all eligible women contacted were given a cooling off period around 2 weeks to confirm that they still wish to participate in the study. Individual semi-structured interviews were conducted in Arabic, and as you can see, 19 participants, 90 participants in the both public and private hospital, and the interviews transcribed into in Arabic and then translated into English, and the acquired data was initially analyzed using inductive thematic analysis approach using in vivo version 12. So the findings. So women secure autonomy identified as an overarching theme where all participating women expressed their desire to have control over their birthing experience while feeling safe and supported. And this desire was affected by 4 sub-themes. So the first theme is respecting basic human rights. Here, all the participants wanted to feel respected and protected from physical and verbal abuse, from any control of their bodies during labor pains and childbirth, pushing, and from the withholding of knowledge and lack of privacy. So here an example, this negative discussion from negative experience from this woman said, the nurse screaming at me, she inserted her hand strongly. I cried and cried. She didn't care about me. And then she hit me. And then she hit me again. So this woman is had an experience in government hospital. And the second sub-theme is communication and empathy. Here, 13 participants discussed the quality of communication with healthcare providers and the level of support provided during childbirth. And a positive experience for this woman in private hospital. So she said, I contacted her, she means the doctor, on the WhatsApp, and directly she replied to me and told me to take it. She means the epidural. Any question she answered by her. Standards of care is participants reported healthcare providers' responsibilities and practices, which all related to the standard of care, informed consent, pain medication, pain management, and clinical procedures such as vaginal examination, episiotomy, all mentioned when women describe their childbirth experience. So this here. So this woman said the doctor dilated me by cutting perineum and episiotomy, and they didn't ask me. I mean, they are supposed to ask me. So this woman in a private hospital, she had a negative experience regarding informing consent. And finally is the hospital policies and, sorry. So this woman said, I wanted to drink juice and have something to eat. I was very hungry. I wanted something, but they refused as my labor had started. I needed something to eat to be able to give birth. I feel that it wasn't acceptable. So this woman in the other hospital, Hospital B. So sorry here. So the participants who chose in the private hospital received their care as better and respectful compared to the government hospital. And the reason for that For this, it may be embedded in their perception that they were exercising choice, and they were in the position to choose the private hospital where they expected high standard and a lot of variety of pain medications. So this could help pregnant women to contribute to the decision made during childbirth. Therefore, women's experience need to be considered in the light of how much their autonomy was empowered and respected. Also, women's autonomy seemed to be affected negatively by infringement of basic human rights, poor empathy and communication, suboptimal standards of care, and unhelpful hospital policies and services. In this respect, there was even evidence that in the current data of physical and verbal abuse for these women, where women being scolded, blamed, and shouted at, and even slapped. In 2012, the WHO research group found that the women are more vulnerable to physical and verbal abuse during childbirth, from 30 minutes before childbirth until 15 minutes after childbirth. So it has been reported by several qualitative studies that the healthcare provider has the justified benefit of these practices by invoking the notion of uncomprehensivness and to safeguard the health of the baby's life, save the baby life. So, however, the kind of any abuse would be unacceptable of any circumstances. And the study implication, I've divided into 3 sections. So for the clinical practice, pregnant women or birthing women needs to be empowered by using birth plans for every woman, and also the healthcare providers and healthcare system should be culturally sensitive to the care for Saudi women. For example, saying some Islamic, the healthcare provider needs to know some spiritual Islamic teaching words from the actor, such as saying Bismillah or this kind, similar to these words. Saying these words can have a positive, respectful gesture to the participating birthing woman, and even though that the nurse or the midwife were non-Muslims. This gave the woman a comforting feeling, and filled with the encouragement to get through difficult situation. Also, for the policy, it is important to take into consideration the psychosocial aspect of setting any policies in maternity care. For example, restricting family access to some birthing facilities would be a violation of women's human rights to have a birth companion of her choice. So especially because family members and friends would act as an advocate for birthing women's rights. So it is crucial to make sure that every woman, every birthing facility has a policy to allow family access during childbirth. Strengthening accountability and recognizing countrywide mechanisms can be achieved by closer monitoring and evaluation of the accountability mechanisms in the healthcare services. And it's also important to eliminate any workplace challenges which may aggravate healthcare providers and support them to create safe birthing environments for all women in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And education is training courses in respect for maternity care for hospital staff must include consideration for effective communication and women-centered care. needs. It's also crucial to include respect for maternity care in the curriculums for medical, nursing, and midwifery education and training programs across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This would help, will help to equip the next generation of healthcare professionals with understanding of the principle of the healthcare of respect for maternity care. So finally, the conclusion: women need to be the center of maternity care, and listen to their feedback has to be considered at the policy and management levels. It's important to listen what women want to optimize their childbirth experience. Indeed, it's an urgent need to develop midwifery educational and invest in midwife who could help to promote active, instinctive, normal physiological childbirth through women-centered care based on a midwifery philosophy. Especially maternity care services are one of the pillars for maintaining and promoting women's health in the country. So therefore, understanding women's experiences and perspectives informs the design and improvement of any healthcare system, especially in terms of respect and dignity. Finally, further research on women's experiences of respect for maternity care during COVID-19 and the healthcare providers' perceptions of respect for maternity care in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are needed. This is me, and thank you very much for listening. And if you have any or some question, please send it to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reem, for this nice presentation. And it sounds good and empowered for all midwives for the benefit of mothers and baby care. The question is coming: is your research published in any scientific journal?
It will be soon. So I'm planning to publish 5 papers from this research project, but I'm still in minor amendments of my research thesis. But it's coming soon, and within 3 months, I would say.
Okay, good luck, Doctor, and all the best in your future. It's very nice research, and good luck for your publishing. Just please feed us back if you start publishing or any journal. It can add value to Saudi Midwifery Group.
I will.
Thank
you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we will move for our next presentation. Our next presentation, it will be for Dr. Sahib Sheikh. He's the head of professional and self-care at Johnson & Johnson, our sponsor company. So please welcome Dr. Sahib.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor to be here amongst you today. I want to first start off by saluting all of you for your professional and your selfless work during this pandemic era. Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Sabi Sheikh. I am the marketing manager for Professional and Self-Care Division at Johnson & Johnson. As leaders in medical, pharmaceutical, and consumer healthcare, J&J's first responsibility is to the doctors, nurses, and patients, and to the mothers and fathers and all others who used our products and services. With that guiding principle, one of my fundamental roles is to partner with and enhance healthcare sector in advancing scientific knowledge and providing innovative solutions that help both the patients improve their lives, but also facilitate healthcare practitioners in making evidence-based decisions. In today's world, digital media and its extreme avenue for information gathering. The challenge with digital media, though, is the credibility of the source. Is it factual or is it an opinion? Is it coming from a source of authority or is it somebody's opinion? These factors have made consumers even more curious, often building myths and wrong misconceptions. but at times even going for self-treatment over seeking expert opinions. All of these things are real challenges to the healthcare professionals who face this day in, day out. Today, it is my pleasure to share with you JnJ's new scientific platform called Academy Plus. This is a free, gated site for healthcare practitioners built as a learning management system consisting of international guidelines, scientific articles, expert videos, and numerous learning modules on multiple topics. Each and every content has been curated very, very smartly with R&D teams globally, the medical departments, as well as our local partners and healthcare practitioners on topics ranging from baby skin health management, atopic dermatitis, and going and extending beyond into oral care. This website also incorporates many of the consumer insights and their search behaviors and tries to link in what drives them to seek treatment and ultimately link it with what will help as tools for healthcare practitioners to be able to provide those solutions. Academy Plus is currently available in Saudi Arabia. As initial launch, it is focused on pediatric care, so mostly on pediatricians, OBGYNs, nurses, and midwives. The content is customized to meet specialist requirement based on their interest. It is our vision in the coming months to enhance the scope, both in terms of topics and disease states, but also to extend it beyond Saudi Arabia to all Middle East markets. Some of the benefits that you will get from signing up or becoming members of Academy Plus is basically you'll have access to all the latest scientific articles and guidelines. We'll be providing you solutions tailored to your customers' needs, curated clinical resource to help sharpen your practice, including medical journals online, access to a lot of accredited courses and lectures, both from local and international forum. And ultimately, our goal is to get to peer-to-peer virtual programs similar to the one that you're in, so that we can further enhance the ability to exchange knowledge. The most important element is this is completely free of cost. This can be accessed with simply a click of a button at academy-plus.ae. And if you need more information on how to register, we also have a booth available during this virtual conference to give you more information. We are really excited with this new innovation, and we look forward to having you join. Your participation and feedback will only help us to build more functionalities, more richer content, and ultimately more capabilities on this avenue. I wish you all a great conference, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Johnson & Johnson, for sharing this all information. And now we will go for the student student part from our international National Day of Midwives. The kingdom a number of significant improvements across Saudi Arabia, and is to have midwifery continued bachelor midwifery programs. And I'd like to introduce a Saudi midwifery student experience through this video. So please attend this video with a real experience with the Saudi midwifery students.
Has ever been my passion. Since I've graduated from high school, my sister, she's a midwife, and she's showing me the prep stories and overwhelming moments of mother with their babies. And that gave me the passion and drive to be a midwife. And midwifery is a rewarding profession that need hard work, dedication, and devotion as well.
Because my passion for the transformation national model of healthcare and my work in nursing and quality management made me notice how the profession of midwifery and the development of midwives will advance the achievement of the 2030 health vision goals. Hence the idea of joining the midwifery.
I can't see myself in any other profession. Even I can't see myself anywhere but with pregnant ladies. So I know that my place is beside mammals and babies.
Midwifery as a profession, that because I'm passionate about a woman's health, and particularly in the most extraordinary period.
Actually, distance learning during the pandemic was quite challenging because it was a new learning process to me, and therefore I faced technical issues and sometimes poor feedback from the tutors.
As a student, the biggest challenge I faced when the clinical training stopped due to COVID-19, and later on we overcame the challenge and completed our training to the full.
As I was working in a hospital, the first challenge was that there is no scholarship, so I had to use all of my vacation days, and I'm back to work now in the summer break. And I hope also for getting the scholarship sooner. Another challenge I faced with the pandemic also was the online learning, the distance learning, but now I'm already getting used to it.
Period is when I have to deal effectively with high emotionally charged situation, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, and communicating with infected mothers.
I'm willing to see the model of midwifery care to be practiced in our hospitals because it's support the women and their families during the journey of birth, and this is the change I would like to see.
I have asked them to give us a chance to train in other hospitals or in other different sectors, such as military, university, and specialist hospital, in addition to the hospital of MOH. This is to enhance our experience by reviewing all the existing systems and enrich the training process.
I'd like to add the obstetric ultrasound training.
A chance to midwife students to conduct birth of at least 50% of the cases comparing to medical students.
Basically, my biggest motivation is my family. They are my strongest supporters. Also, involving in midwifery society network teams in social media and watching videos upon birth motivates me more.
Intrinsic motivation of myself for my career, and I'm continuing growth in my specialty day by day. And in the beginning of each semester, I'm setting my short and long-term goals, and I'm working hard to achieve them. In other hand, my mother, my family, my sister, my husband, all they are supporting and motivating me, as well as the academic staff in the university. Also, I'm taking time for myself every day to regain my energy for study, and that's keep me motivated.
Sometimes there's nothing motivating me, but what really motivates me is my mom and my clients, their aspirations of me.
Actually, what's motivating me is the mother and her positive experience and emotional afterbirth.
Change, as I mentioned, it was to see midwife clinics in primary healthcare centers and hospitals, to have the independence role of the midwife to be seen more pronounced.
Hope to activate the midwifery hotline to achieve the virtual care.
To see the midwife in home birth, the postnatal visits, and also I want to introduce the unmedicalized birth in hospitals. Also, I would like the equality in decision-making in hospitals with physicians.
To have a midwife's clinic and primary healthcare centers for women's health from preconceptions period until 6 weeks postpartum.
Happy International Day of Midwife.
Happy International Day of Midwives.
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 So thank you for this inspiring video. And now let us welcome Ms. Zuhur Al-Somali. Zuhur is a senior specialist midwife and a Jeddah Midwifery Regional Coordinator at Ministry of Health, Saudi Arabia. Her lecture today is about my journey from a student midwife. So please welcome Zuhur.
Okay, is my voice clear? Hi, Huda. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to share my experience and my journey from a student, be it student up to being a midwife. I hope my story will inspire other midwife students to drive change after graduation. If we go to the next slide, let me take you back before being a student. I have bachelor degree in nursing. So my career started as a nurse. I graduated from the school and I got hired in Ministry of Health. And the whole thing I was thinking about is being a postnatal nurse. So going and meeting my director of nursing at that time. She was like, Zuhur, we have a shortage in labor and delivery ward. Can you cover there? And then we can see if there are chances later to go to postnatal ward. I agreed and I went. So if you ask me, did you choose labor and delivery? I would say not in the beginning of my career, no. So I went there and I was really, really privileged to be a part of midwifery and nursing team in labor and delivery at that time. And also privileged to attend and conduct a birth of many babies, normal and complicated. Being in labor and delivery ward has shown me the variety of work of midwife and how passionate they do their work. Also, you can see a new client, new experience, new patients, new people every day on a daily basis, new stories. I have found myself enjoying the childbirth journey, and that's when I knew I wanted to become a midwife and I want to shift my career. So if we go to the next slide. So during that period, I was looking for a midwifery program in Jeddah, which was not available at that time. And I have applied so many times for external scholarship, but it was very, very competitive. Like you can't get a seat. And after that, I went to, I had to apply and apply and apply until the end of the light of the end of the tunnel, where King Saud bin Abdulaziz University have announced postgraduate midwifery program in Jeddah region. So that was the first one in Jeddah, and I have enrolled. Of course, it was limited seats, very competitive because there are like 6 students or 8 students maximum. And alhamdulillah, thank God I made it. And it was through internal scholarship by my employer, Ministry of Health, Saudi Arabia, where they funded the whole program, including keeping my position in the hospital. If we go to the next slide. So this is the first batch of KSAU, or King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Science postgraduate midwifery program. And those are my colleagues. We can see in the middle, Dr. Taqwa Umar, the Dean of Nursing College at that time. And she was the inspiring person of the program at that time. If we go to the next slide, we can see our director of the program, midwifery program, Dr. Abir Arabi, who have ensured that as a midwifery student, we gain all the competencies and the theoretical and practical parts. Also included in our placement, the community care, the antenatal, postnatal, and including labor and delivery ward. If we go to the next slide. Now, after my journey as a student and going back to work, and as they say, going back to reality, I have faced many challenges as a midwife. And to be honest, I was very excited going back to work. That's number one. And I was eager to apply whatever I learned in the college, in the practice, to join them. But if we go to the next slide, we can see some challenges that I faced. The first one was midwifery job description was limited, and also it does not specify the rule of senior and junior midwives, which can affect or reflect on patient safety. And also limited midwifery competency was one of the things I have noticed. It was different than the competencies we have trained on. And the third thing that I had to start to compare between nursing and midwifery, because the discipline of nursing in the hospital where I work was very advanced, that they had monitor their performance through KPIs. And that's when I started to think, what does the midwife have to monitor their performance or her performance? And I had to search for that one. The fourth thing that was, so our program was the first one in Jeddah. So we didn't have a senior midwife in a leadership role, a senior specialist. And that was one of the challenges also I faced. If we go to the next slide, and then there are the opportunities. There are always opportunities. Like you can see obstacles or challenges, but if you open your eyes widely, you can see there are opportunities around us that you can use. The first opportunity was having a midwifery consultant, Dr. Ru'a Tawili, in Riyadh, who have a very positive influence in all midwives and including me. This picture, when we have attended after I graduated in the launch of the midwifery book or guidebook that I will tell you about shortly. If we go to the next slide. So as I said, the opportunities that I have seen is the launch of guidebook of midwifery, which included the scope of service or scope of practice, in midwifery, and the competencies of midwife, midwifery job description that included also the privileges of midwife. And this book was adapted or referenced by International Confederation of Midwife. So basically, to be honest, it has everything I ever needed to make the change. If you go to the next slide. Also, I have been equipped by on-job training and development courses, such as Train the Trainer of Midwifery Competency, where I learned what are the core competencies in practice and what are the how to do them, how to create them, and how to do them exactly, and what do you need. If we go to the next slide. And then the story starts as a maternity service manager, where there was a vacancy in that position. So I was placed in that position where I had the authority to start to change in midwifery practice in our hospital. I have used the Guide of Midwifery book together with the team that I have in applying the scope of service of the midwife. And also we have changed in the competency in midwifery practice. We also have updated the midwifery job description and used it as infrastructure for the midwifery, the junior and the senior, to protect, also to take care of the patient safety. We also have used midwife privileges that included in that book, which have allowed the midwife to practice many privileges or competencies. If you go to the next slide. Okay, so also in this position, we have worked in mandatory trainings for midwife in labor and delivery, which included a newborn resuscitation to ensure that the midwife attain and maintain and competent in emergency, obstetric emergency and newborn care. So we have included the NRP in the mandatory courses for all the midwife, and we have created a KPI percentage to know how many midwife are certified NRP. Also, one of the things that we have changed, that the stigma in companion during labor and delivery, which was not approved at that time in the hospital due to a stigma or like cultural norms. But there was a book or guidelines from Ministry of Health to allow companions. So we used that one to change the policy in our hospital together with the team, and allow the women or the mothers to choose whoever they want to attend their delivery, whether doula or a husband or a sister or a mother, with her consent, of course. Also, we have sent midwives, as you can see here in the picture, Mrs. Nida Abdul Jabbar, who have been trained to be a breastfeeding consultant, in addition to her work in labor and delivery, and is monitoring now the application of skin-to-skin contact in labor and delivery, and the use of the golden hour for breastfeeding, in addition to her work in the clinic, together in teaching women how to breastfeed during antenatal period and in the delivery period. If we go to the next slide. So I told you earlier that I have been thinking, what are the KPIs that are there to monitor the performance of midwifery care. So we have been introduced with the support of the CEO or Assistant for Nursing Services, Mrs. Ruwaida Nhouli, the percentage of one-to-one care during labor, to ensure that there are less intervention during labor, reduce the length of labor and operative deliveries. And this was added with the nursing dashboard. As you can see, this is the data of 2020. If we go to the next slide. These are my dream team. From the left, you can see the CEO Assistant of Nursing in King Abdullah Medical Complex, Ms. Ruwaida Nhouli, and the rest of the team are the Maternity Service Manager. At the right top, we can see Mrs. Rana Bamifleh, who has been working in updating the competencies for midwife, ensuring that they are competent, and continuously monitoring and assessing the educational need for midwife in the labor and delivery units. And the bottom, we can see also the first senior midwife, head of midwifery in the labor and delivery ward, Mrs. Rabab Azara. If we go to the next slide. So basically, now I'm working as a midwifery regional coordinator, where I'm not only responsible for my workplace, but also have the privilege to visit other hospitals in the region, in Jeddah region, and to do monitoring and following up the midwifery job description application, the competencies, and their scope of practice. And also, if we go to the next slide, we do also collaborate with Midwifery Profession Regulation Unit in a monitoring midwifery database, where we see the movement of the midwives, and also participate in the distribution of midwifery workforce according to birth number in the hospitals. We also monitor the maternity units in Jeddah and try to support them with the needed, whether it's material or trainings or whatever they need. If we go to the next slide. Now, in this journey and with all these people who helped transforming in that hospital and inshallah in the other Jeddah region, I would like to call for more scholarship for the midwives. I want more people to have the full funded opportunity that I had to have more senior midwives in leadership positions and to lead maternity services. And also, I think that investing in on-job trainings for midwife is the key to change the practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zur, for this inspiring story. Actually, I'm really proud of you and the achievement that it was done in Jeddah and hopefully in other regions and in all Saudi Arabia and all universe. Always midwives make a change and empower mothers and baby and for the best care for both of them. And also, I feel from your smile, from your happiness, the way that you tell us your story, we are proud of you, and all of us, we are proud of you. Hopefully your story inspire more students and more people. They want to join to be future midwives. Thank you so much for your presentation. I want you to ask, what's the most hard situation that you face and that you think that you will not be a midwife or you will not be there anymore, and what's the thing that let you change this opinion and you continue to be a very good midwife?
Okay, so the opportunity, as I said in the presentation, the opportunity of becoming a midwife, the process itself was very, very difficult. Like it was a bumpy road. For example, I had to wait like a few years to get into the midwifery program that was available in my area. So I'm sure there are other areas that did not establish the midwifery program, whether it's a bachelor or postgraduate program. So I would love to call for more colleges to participate in this program. Especially in the other regions. The other thing was to have like a role model in each region is very, very crucial to achieve, because like opening this road, bumpy road or closed roads are difficult. But thank God that, as I said, we have midwifery director in Riyadh that have made all of this easy by the guidebook of midwife, by the competency courses that are available. So we need more of that. I think we need more of that.
Thank you so much, and happy International Day. And
thank you, really happy International Day.
Your presence, it's a value, add value to Saudi Midwifery Group. So let's go to our next lecture. Our next lecture, it's about midwifery education in Saudi Arabia, opportunities and challenges. It will be presented by Dr. Abir Orabi. Dr. Abir, she's the assistant professor, coordinator of Master of Science in Nurse Midwifery Program in King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Science in Saudi Arabia. So all of us, please welcome Dr. Abir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, could you hear me clearly?
Yes, we hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Huda, for your nice introduction. I'm really delighted to wish everyone here a happy International Day of the Midwife. And I am very happy to...
Please, your slide is not showing in the screen.
Yes, I didn't share yet.
Okay, great. Can you please make it on the full screen?
Okay.
Yes, great.
You
clear.
can see, okay.
Go ahead, Dictora.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the Saudi Midwifery Group for inviting me to be here today and be part of this amazing group of speakers. And before I start my presentation, I'd like to echo the role or the great role of the midwife to foster optimum perinatal outcomes and maintain safety of the mother and her baby. As we all know, the theme for celebration of the IDM this year is under Invest in Midwives, as being called by international organization as WHO and ICM and ICN. And this is because investment in midwives really is a key for improving the health outcomes, not only for the women, but also for families and for community at large. So needless to say that midwives are the key in returning birth care to more normal physiologic status. In other words, to keep hands off and allow nature to take its course. However, more needs to be done to realize this goal and widen access of each and every woman and family to midwifery care. At that point, it is crucial to start with midwifery education and think about the pressing challenges facing it, propose solution and opportunities. And this is what I try to brief in my presentation today. In this regard, and in reference to the ICM standard of midwifery education, it is clearly stated there that for midwifery profession to be recognized and gain autonomy, members should be high education holders, so education comes at the top of the list as an element to consider. Secondly, come clinical training and practice, followed by continuing education and the development to keep up to date and demonstrate continuing competence. That is very important and crucial for effective and safe midwifery practice, whether in routine situation or emergency obstetrical care, such as in case of hemorrhage, sepsis, eclampsia, obstructed labor, and etc. And last but not the least comes motivational, safe, well-equipped environment, which is needed to learn, to practice, and provide evidence-based care. So I classified the common challenges based on the major contributors to midwifery education process, as we can see in this slide. Starting from those related to midwifery education programs. As we are speaking about education, we have to think about the learner or student, and then the setting where students get training and practice, that is the clinical training sites, followed by research as an important pillar in graduate education, and bear to those contributors are virtual teaching and motivating factors. Concerning the challenges related to midwifery education, basically objectives are the backbone of educational program. They determine the why, the how, and the what of each program in terms of why programs are established, how it should be managed, and what needs to be done throughout. Program objectives should be developed based on community needs assessment and healthcare demand. So in turn, its achievement will be reflected on health in community health outcomes. And at the same time, development, running, management of midwifery program should be committed to international standard. So program will be standardized, accredited, and of high quality. So in turn, it can graduate qualified and competent midwives, being able to provide efficient, comprehensive midwifery care. The matter is not only provision of midwifery care, but what kind of midwifery care. The challenge is here that the midwifery educational programs in Saudi Arabia are still lacking. So increasing number of accredited midwifery program is necessary to educate larger number of midwives and thus increase the access and coverage for qualified midwifery care. Putting in mind that the healthcare system currently is mainly staffed by national midwives recruited from all over the world to meet midwifery workforce needs. In this context, I went through a report on current midwifery workforce in MOH in Saudi Arabia 2019. The report highlighted...
Sarah, sorry, but your slide, it's not moving.
Yes, because I didn't finish it yet.
Okay, sorry.
Don't worry. The report highlighted that lack of midwives and midwifery program, highlighted the lack of midwives and midwifery program in Saudi Arabia. So the opportunity in this regard can be Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, which has articulated significant improvement or target in healthcare sector, including having midwifery-led care, our optimum goal. That should be the first choice for all women. Concerning student, actually selection of promising midwife is important, not only for successful completion of the program in terms of achieving high grades, being actively involved in studies and clinical experience or research, pursuing enrichment activity, but also for to achieve the program goals and maintain retention in the field. So what can be the characteristic of a good candidate rather than those listed by higher education accrediting body in terms of having excellent skills, graduated from a well-known university, or achieving high GPA, English proficiency, previous experience? What can be other characteristic we are looking for in our promising midwife or candidate? From my point of view, a good candidate should be one who is really interested in the field. And indeed, interested student will not be easily overwhelmed by programs study or clinical or research requirement. Instead, they will go through the rigors or difficulty or smoothly and successfully, and always be ambitious. As when we love our work, it will make us remain in spite whatever difficulties we are facing. However, it is very difficult or challenging to pick up candidates who are really interested and ambitious in midwifery field through a personal interview. Also, selection of those who have had enough social support or don't have family issues that may disrupt their success in the program is important too. As we all know that applicants most of the time are mothers, wives, caregiver for a beloved family person, and these issues are not discussed or evident in the personal interview. So it's really admission to graduate program or school is very competitive for students and challenging for faculties. The matter is not only related to admission or enrollment to midwifery education program, but also the rate of withdrawal or successful completion, which can be challenging. In this regard, maintaining a motivational environment, timely constructive feedback, a regular meeting to discuss concern, problems, requests, suggestions in a timely manner, and use of available resources to its maximum could help. Also, number of applicants for midwifery education program is still relatively low. And this can be attributed to some factors, maybe nature of available program in terms of duration, number of credit hour, research or clinical requirement. Another factor can be related to the criteria for admission that potential candidate may struggle to achieve or to fit. In this context, coordinated action can be a possible solution and need to be taken as focusing on important criteria for enrollment or admission. So we end up with a reasonable package that can attract candidates to apply and see themselves fit for it. Increase program marketing and announcement in different media centers. Introduce program to employer to encourage them to allow their staff to join or to apply for the program. They really need to feel the importance of program outcomes and the impact of having highly educated staff on the quality of the provided care. Moreover, collaboration and liaison between the programs or the schools and hospital, OB/GYN consultant, nurse manager, nurses, and all the team there with a regular meeting and communication to discuss feedback, to discuss challenges, opportunities, could be also helpful. Another challenge related to students is their background and experience. And there is still a debate on the value of previous experience in maternity care, where some see that a student with a maternity experience or background enters the program with an existing background or existing knowledge base acquired in hospital, where maybe unnecessary intervention, medical intervention as CTG, IV fluid, epidural anesthesia are utilized, which help this student to develop little bit medicalized approach, birth approach, that can skew their view of birth and expectation or experience. At the same time, the philosophy of care in terms of watchful waiting for birth may be a foreign concept for those kind of a student. On the other hand, the student with experience from other areas of nursing may have a medicalized vision of birth, but they may not possess the skills required for midwifery practice or struggle to acquire them. And in this regard, they need additional time and effort to master basic skills and incorporate complex concepts into bedside care. In this slide, I'd like to echo that clinical sites and perceptors are major contributor to midwifery education process, as educational program rely on clinical sites and perceptors to provide clinical practice opportunities. At the same time, clinical sites need to hire certified nurse midwife to fill their position. So growth of the midwifery depend on the collaboration between all clinical sites, perceptors, and midwifery schools offering midwifery education. In relation to clinical training sites, challenges related to clinical training sites may be situated in its selection, because selection should be based on certain criteria as being nationally accredited, as having adequate resources, adequate patient number, clear policies and procedure, adequate number of qualified field staff. Another challenge is related to shortage of clinical preceptors. We all agree that clinical preceptors play a very important role in the midwifery education process. They serve as role models, supporter, teachers, evaluator, and the clinical expertise. They close the theory clinical gap, coaching and assisting students to achieve their clinical requirement or objective and be competent and feel self-efficacy. In line with this role, they should be knowledgeable on current standards of practice, actively committed and resourceful, competent and experienced in midwifery, as well as educational training technology. But shortage of staff may lead to unmanageable workload that act as a significant barrier for achievement of this role. Another challenge is the medicalized approach inherent in the hospital setting, as midwifery education occur in hospital settings that is dominated by medical model, which make it difficult to practice midwifery model, which lean on interference in normal process and judges use of intervention. Also, it limits the number of experiences students have with normal physiologic birth practices. A possible solution that we have to call that all faculty and preceptors should always support normal physiologic birth within that setting and be a role model adopting the philosophy of being with the woman, which is the real meaning of a midwife, in a compassionate way. Also, increasing educational experience at birth centers and home births can be a logical solution, but these experiences are still relatively low. What worsens the situation is that the number of the practicing midwife is reduced. We encounter a massive reduction of their number, which decrease the chance for one-to-one midwifery care or practice, and in turn increase the rate of medical intervention. Another challenge can be related to documentation, as no one can deny that documentation is an essential part of nurses and midwives care for their patient or for the women, as it provides a record of all the actions, assessment, discussion, follow-up, everything done with the patient. But for somebody, it can be seen as a burden activity. And unfortunately, introduction of an electronic health record system to sometimes increase the demand on the preceptor's time, make it difficult for them to go or to show commitment to sharing their clinical experience as expected. Additional challenge with COVID-19, shifting in some setting to virtual clinic that limit direct patient contact may jeopardize the achievement of clinical courses requirement. Concerning the challenges related to the research, as we know, research is a vital in every profession to achieve its goal and provide evidence-based foundation for its activities and practices, and midwifery is no exception. But the challenge can be related to selection of topic. It should be based on community health needs, research priorities, assessed taking into account the cultural and traditional aspect of the community. As well as it is important to have a novel topic and feasible to be researched in the field. Another challenge can be related to completion of the research along with the study and the clinical training requirement, at the same time produce a scientifically strong and technically sound manuscript. But the opportunity that we can make use of is that our midwifery field has a wide range of topics to be covered to inform best practice and generate profession-specific knowledge. Additionally, the nature of midwifery amplifies the significance of research in our field, and the magnitude of the effect of the nurse gets something wrong because she doesn't know has the potential to affect a large number in the population. For example, for many years, clamping of the newborn umbilical cord immediately following after birth is being encouraged as a part of postpartum hemorrhage prevention strategy. And early in the 21st century, research suggested that this action is harmful to newborn, affecting them for as long as 6 months following birth. And midwife in this regard played an important role in generating this research. As for example, Judah Mercer, a midwifery scientist in Boston, led the earliest research on delayed cord clamping on preterm infant, and the result of her work has changed practice for these vulnerable infants. Also, Ellen Houghton, a Canadian midwifery researcher, published the first systematic review of delayed cord clamping on a full-term infant. And their work contribute to changing this guideline. So you see the strategy of clamping the umbilical cord within seconds after birth that had been used for many years without proper or complete testing has impacted generation of infant. And in this context, I am glad to share with you that I supervised a master's thesis of one of my students in the same topic, and the result supported delayed cord clamping practice. Concerning virtual teaching, a closely related challenge to educational program when we shifted to virtual teaching with the pandemic. Actually, I see that virtual teaching is like simulated versus real patient, or like cesarean section versus normal vaginal delivery. They are not the same in many aspects. One of them, and the most important of them for me, is the underdeveloped relationship built between the faculty and the student. Because we really need to know more about our student because which really matters to us. Another challenge can be related to the huge effort need to be done to maintain student engagement and participation, which will help the student to get breadth and depth of information and experience, as well as enforce the retention and improve their academic achievement. Also, always faculty need to have an alternative and backup plan as a key strategy to deal with any emergent change. In this regard, the student also should be prepared to cope with any emergent change with the same base, and this is one of the roles of the faculty to prepare student to do so. Motivating factors have a strong impact on midwives' performance. Creating a motivational study environment is crucial to avoid withdrawal from the program. With the pandemic, the situation had been worse because the students always have a high level of worry about themselves and their families of catching infection during clinical training, which was a significant factor affecting their performance and enthusiasm all over the study weeks. So consideration of special circumstances is very important. Maintaining continuous open channel of communication between the student and faculty, and for the faculty to block enough time to carefully listen to the student, to discuss their concern, their opinion, suggestion, reactions, and correction of misconception or negative feedback that might frustrate them is very important. In addition to encouraging, advising, follow up, caring, so the student feels that she is important and stay enthusiastic during the study, and reminding them all the time that many, I will not say 100 or 1,000, many have went through the process, so why not you? As well as we all always call for caring for the woman and advocate for her right, we need also to take care of our students, and as we lean on them as the stepping stone for development of the midwifery profession. Another strategy for motivating the student is rewarding of those who actively have great achievements. It will really act as an effective strategy to motivate them to keep the hard working and stimulate their colleague to follow them. So the way forward can be in ensuring quality in midwifery by providing multidisciplinary content and learning experience that complement the midwifery content, and ensuring all the time that faculty are properly estimating the importance and relevancy of this information given to midwives and teach them from the midwifery perspective. In addition to supervision and monitoring to ensure that our midwives are always abreast with the current skills, knowledge, and research. And in conclusion, we need to focus that this is the proper time that each one play his exact or her exact role. No need to waste additional time doing something that can be done by others and decline the chance in front of offering efficient, qualified care for risky cases. Also, it is important to free up obstetrician and give the room for expanded role of midwives and their career progress. We don't have extra time to waste. The minute enemy already took off a lot of our time to investigate, to research, to prevent, to manage, and to worry about. With the ongoing 2020 pandemic, there is a great opportunity to really invest in midwives and have competent, highly qualified ones. We all agree that midwives can conduct physical examination, admit, manage, discharge, order and interpret laboratory or diagnostic tests, order the use of medical devices, bearing in mind that midwifery care results in lower cost with fewer unnecessary, invasive, and expensive intervention, and is associated with lower rates of cesarean birth, labor induction and augmentation, use of regional anesthesia, a significant reduced rate of third and fourth degree perineal tears, and higher rates of breastfeeding. In this slide, on this figure, I wanted to stress the following message: that midwifery is caring, the midwife is caring for the woman from before conception till delivery, till after delivery, which can be aligned with principle of continuity of care. She is capable of providing holistic, comprehensive care for low-risk pregnant women. At the same time, midwifery-led care should be based on professional, competent midwife who provide effective evidence-based care and also sensitive to the individual needs of women and families. But the challenge may be to change a rigid system that maintain routine care or medicalization, and also to overcome time pressures. So midwives can proceed with the rules to early detect risk, to support, to guide, to promote health, to educate, to counsel, and follow up. In turn, our optimum outcomes can be achieved in terms of healthy mothers and babies, smooth transition to parenthood, and here I mean parenthood or parent, because I'd like to emphasize the husband involvement, and to protect the normal physiological process during pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and to promote breastfeeding. And one of our opportunities that the research had shown that midwifery care of high quality and midwifery-led care or high quality midwifery-led care can be comparable to that care provided by obstetrician or gynecologist. So we need to keep the hard work and great achievement and continue what we already started with the same passion.
Thank you so much to sharing this all information. It's really powerful, and I like the flow that how you attract midwives to study midwifery and go to this field and make it as a career. I will check the questions. The question is, do you believe that we have to start to practice midwifery in the community before in the hospital, because that will make the thrust of the mother before coming to labor? I think it means the midwifery clinic to the prenatal follow-up with midwives. That's the question.
I think we should go parallel in all health facilities, whether in the community health center, primary health centers, or within the private sector or governmental hospitals. We need all the time within all of these to emphasize the midwifery model of care and use all the available resources in our hand and try to rely on them to foster the development, inshallah, in the future. And I am looking forward that the future of the midwifery profession will be, inshallah, soon up to our level of expectation. Actually, I am really optimistic regarding this issue.
Yeah, I share the same opinion, Doctora. I feel like once we can open all the privileges for the midwife, either the clinic, delivery room, postpartum, and according to Ministry of Health, they do a very good job with the book of guidelines and the privilege for all midwife. Soon, sure, with a good number of students and the graduate midwife, we will achieve this vision, inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Abir, for your participation. Your participation is really valued Saudi Midwifery Group, and see you, inshallah, on the other conferences.
Thank you, dear.
So thank you for today. Now we'll have like a small video. To be a midwife, this means that you are the cause of the end of the pain. You will be the cause of the beginning of the internal happiness. You wipe tears and replace it with a beautiful smile. So please enjoy our video, what's mean to be a midwife. Thank you.
تخصصت لأقدم لك ولكل امرأة رعاية صحية متكاملة. أنا معك من البلوغ إلى انقطاع الطمث.
أنا أدرس ابنتك بالجامعة لتقديم رعاية عالية الجودة للأم والطفل.
شاركتك فرحة حملك وبدأت معك مرحلة متابعة الحمل. عشنا مشاعره سويا. شرحت لك التغيرات الفسيولوجية الطبيعية أثناء الحمل وكيفية التعامل معها، وهيأتك نفسيا وجسديا لمرحلة المخاض.
بعيش معك مشاعر الحمل كلها، بعرفك على هرموناتك، تغييراتها وكيف ممكن تستغليها.
كنت معك في أصعب لحظات الولادة حتى وصلنا إلى ولادة طبيعية آمنة.
بساندك وبرعاكي بالولادة القيصرية وما بعدها، وبسهل عليكي مراحل التعافي.
دعمتك لترضعي طفلك بالشكل الصحيح.
أعتني بطفلك منذ لحظات الولادة الأولى حتى 2 من عمره.
بساعدك لتتعاملي مع مولودك حتى بالأوقات الصعبة.
أقدم لك المشورة في الرعاية الإنجابية ورفيقتك في مشوار الأمومة.
خليتك تعرفي كيف تختاري موانع الحمل المناسبة لوضعك وحاجتك.
أنا لست طبيبة.
أنا لست ممرضة.
أنا قابلة.
نحن هنا لرعايتك.
Thank you, Genital, and thank you, Saudi Midwifery Group, to make this day very nice and to make this video. I want to announce that this year, Saudi Midwifery Group, we create awards. This year, we don't select or we don't choose the best midwife awards and or the other awards for the student, but we send emails for all Ministry of Health and Midwife according to their criteria. Our criteria as a Saudi, and each midwife, she can apply for it, best midwife according to that criteria. So we can go for the first award for this year. It's for the best practice midwife. Our first award is for the best professional practice midwife in recognition of her tremendous work as a midwife in supporting women during pregnancy, birth, and after birth. We appreciate the work you do for the women and their babies, and we hope you will continue provide the quality care for the women and their babies. Our first award, it will go to Miss Manal Awad Al-Anazi. It's from the Ministry of Health in Hayel. She deserves the Best Professional Practice Midwifery Award for the Ministry of Health. So please, if Miss Manal is attend, she can join us in Riyadh today to celebrate and to take her award. Otherwise, she can contact Saudi Midwifery Relationship Coordinator, Miss Muna, and she can receive her award. So let's go for the second Best Professional Practice Midwife Award from Prince Sultan Military Medical City, Miss Nujud Salim. Next slide, please. Okay, Third award, it will go to the best professional practice midwife award. Go to Miss Manal Al-Waldawi from King Abdulaziz Medical City. The third award, it go to Miss Manal Al-Waldawi as a best professional practice midwife from King Abdulaziz Medical City. Professional Guard Riyadh. For the best professional practice midwife award, it will go to Miss Antoinette and Duby, National Medical again. Again, I want to mention that this award this year, it's selected by the organization. We send them emails and they send us the feedback. The midwives, they feel they deserve to be best professional practice midwife. And for future, we will have our own criteria. So let's go to our second award. It's Outstanding Postgraduate Midwifery Student Award to value their participation and to encourage them in recognition of their academic and practice excellence as a midwife student. Your high level of academic and integrity has contributed significantly in providing quality care to the woman and their infant. Our first award, it will go to Miss Thuraya Muhammad Dasiri. She's from Armed Forces Hospital, Southern region. Second award, it will go to Miss Maryam Al-Hurabi. She's also from King Fahd Medical City. Our third name is Miss Hissa Al-Buwainin from Prince Sultan Military Hospital. Our fourth, it will go to Miss Ahlam Al-Shamari. Also, she is from Prince Sultan Military Hospital. Our fifth award, it will go to Miss Maryam Ibrahim Uthman Al-Fallat from King Saud bin Abdulaziz University Hospital for Health and Science in Jeddah. Our sixth award, it will go to University. Our seventh award, it will go to Miss Amna Abdullah Al-Ghamdi from King Saud bin Abdulaziz University for Health Science in Riyadh. And our last award, it will go to Miss Ahlam Muhammad Al-Anisi from King Same for all students, and they are an organization. So thank you for participation. Thank you, everyone. دكتورة نوال.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Huda, for this great moderating of our event today. And thank you so much for all the participants and for the attendance of our conference. And congratulations, a big congratulations to all the midwives and the student midwives who worked really hard in this during the pandemic, and for all constant efforts to improve and maintain a high quality care to women and their babies. To put a conference of this magnitude together is not a small task. So to that end, I would like to thank the Saudi Midwifery board members, Dr. Atawili, Ms. Samni Zahrani, Dr. Ibtisam Jahlan, Ms. Fatima Zahra, Ms. Muna Bukhari, the head of media and public relation, and the beautiful Ms. Jihan, the deputy of head scientific committee, and all the scientific committee members, with a special thank to Zuhur and Sanila for their amazing work to moderate the videos. Also, I would like to thank all the WINS and the healthcare providers, midwifery students who shared their beautiful and great stories that we really enjoyed to listen to them. Also, a big thank, a huge thank to our distinguished speakers. Your contribution were invaluable, and we have learned a lot from today's celebration, and it was a great opportunity, a learning opportunity for all of us. And also special thanks for people behind the screen for their great job, for the MCI company in Middle East, and for our great sponsor, Johnson & Johnson. Thank you so much for your financial support and for the encouragement to keep us doing this amazing event. And I would like to mention specific names from the MCI. Thank you so much for Patrick, Ala, and Perenka. We couldn't have done this amazing event without your efforts and without your completing the task in a short time. It's just a great honor to work with you. Last and the most important, I would like to thank all of the IDM attendees for attending our celebration today. And actually, you are the foundation for this conference. And we hope to see you all in our annual general meeting on November. And I think I just would like to remind you all that we will have the workshop facilitating and implementing antenatal care group. For only 14 midwives and healthcare providers that we have hardly select them because we have really great people that really want to attend the workshop. So as I said early in the morning that Dr. Marlis and Mrs. Ann promised us they will repeat the workshop again next week on Saturday and the following Saturdays on June. So keep your eyes on your email. You might be selected for the coming workshops. I think the last reminder I would kindly ask all of you to complete the evaluation form. And for the Saudi practitioners, if you would like to claim your CME hours, please do so and complete the evaluation form. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope that you had an amazing and a wonderful night. Thank you.